Alright guys, I don't know how well this will do, but welcome to a new series called What If I Was in Dragon Ball. This is going to be explaining my character, my OC, and he's going to be born in Dragon Ball. So with all that being said, let's get to it. Cut to King Cold. King Cold gave up his position to Frieza because he was scared of dealing with Beerus, but he realized something. Frieza might die one day. True, he is extremely powerful, and he doesn't think anyone can beat him in a fight besides Majin Buu and Beerus, but he's extremely cocky, and Frieza might lead to his own demise, so he decides to have another kid. So King Cold sheds his skin and places it into a pod to create a new son. He leaves for a couple weeks. As he comes back, he sees me developing in the pod. At first, he's excited, but then he gets up. As he put on the scouter and looked at me, he was disgusted. I only had a power level of 90,000. Frieza had a power level near 1 million when he was born. 90,000, that's nothing. Sure, to every other being in the universe, that would be an extraordinary power level to be born with. But for me, King Cold was just disgusted. And when I grew up, my power level would only be 300 or 400,000, he thought. This was no worthy person to be in his family. He grabbed me from the pod and pulled me out. One of the Frieza soldiers said, "What are you doing? Pulling out your son." King Cold said, "Oh, relax. There's no reason keeping something that has zero value." I looked at King Cold and I began to cry as I put out my little baby arm. But King Cold didn't care as he busted a hole through the roof and began to fly out in space. Then he blasted a hole in my chest and threw me out in space. He knew that I wouldn't starve to death, but he thought I would just bleed out. I floated out in space. Eventually, my wound would heal into a scar, but I floated there for weeks until I hit a planet. I was starving. I was so hungry. Even though I was a child, I knew what I had to do. I would slaughter animals, eating them like a barbarian, and I would eat the fruit. I landed on an uninhabited planet with only nature there. I don't know how long I was there before I grew up. However, one day something would happen that would change everything. Memorized everything, every plant, every animal, every mountain, every tree, everything on the planet. I could always fly out, but for some reason I wanted to stay there. There was something to this planet calling me to stay. I just didn't know what it was. I was grown up at this point. I stayed there for I don't know how many years. But one day something would happen. I would sense power levels that are crazy, power levels that are unlike anything before. Unlike any animal, unlike any creature, and then a giant tree would grow from the planet. You see, since I was living among nature, I learned how to sense power levels. I would use that to hunt. As I looked up, though, I saw this massive tree, a tree that went into space. The tree called me towards it. I began to walk towards the tree, but as I did, suddenly the Crusher Core would appear. Crusher Core began to surround me. As they began to talk, they said, "Well, I'm surprised someone like you exists on here. We thought this planet was uninhabited, except for some small animals. Luckily, the tree we tested out worked. So, I guess we're gonna have to kill you, unless you want to join our crew." I began to look at them, and they looked familiar, even though I've never seen an animal stand up on two legs besides myself. But then I remembered something. I remembered that King Cold threw me away. That's why I stayed on this planet, so I could survive. But deep down, I didn't want to survive anymore. All I wanted was revenge on my father, and they reminded me of him. Suddenly, my fist pierced through one of their chests as I ripped out their heart and ate it, and began to eat them. The others were shocked as they began to fight me. I never fought in my life. I only hunted animals. However, my power level is so much more above theirs. They use special martial artist techniques and ki blasts and many other things, but they just bounce right off of me. As I then grab a moldy guy with metal skin and rip off his skull, as I then drink his blood, eating him. The Crusher Core is shocked as I kill them one by one, devouring them. As I fly up to the top as I sense another power level, it's Turles. Turles shakes in fear as he eats a fruit from the Tree of Might. I feel his power level skyrocket as he flies and punches me, and then begins to battle me with everything he got. But it just wasn't enough. I punched Turles so hard he fell down and hit the ground. Turles got up on his knees and began to beg for his life. "Please don't kill me. Together we can overthrow the universe. Together we can rule it. Together we can kill Frieza and King Cold." I was about to kill him, but then King Cold that's the name of my father. I remembered that. I couldn't talk, but I nodded and sat down. as I then ate a fruit from the tree of might, and I felt my power grew. Then I had an idea. If I teamed up from Turles, we can plant more of these tree things and eat more of these fruits, and then I can get revenge on my father. I then sat down, as Turles looked shocked that I spared him. But Turles nodded his head, says, "You're a Frieza race, right? What's your deal? Are you related to the Frieza family?" I simply nodded. I could understand him, but I couldn't talk myself. It was weird, since I never talked to anyone before. I don't know how I understand people. Maybe that's just built into my genetics. Turles and I would go to planet, planting tree after tree, and he would eventually teach me how to talk. I taught Turles how to hide his power level and sense power levels without scouters. We taught each other a few things, and we managed to get along. We planted a tree here and there. We didn't go crazy, and we didn't go into the Frieza planets, because then Frieza would get worried and discover us, and if Frieza discovered us, it would be game over. Frieza would hear reports of just planets with trees on them, but since they weren't owned by him, he kept it in mind, but it wasn't a severe threat. But it was a bit worrisome. Turles just kept me around so he could use me to overthrow Frieza. Then when I had my guard down, he would kill me. I was merely a tool, a pawn. But I didn't feel that way. I felt like Turles actually cared about me. I've never had someone take care of me before, and the fact that Turles taught me anything, it made me have a close bond with him. One day, however, we would go to a planet and there would be a statue of a giant Namekian. We cut to Lord Slug. He'd be sitting on his throne when suddenly he would hear the entire planet shook as a tree grew from within it. Then suddenly, part of the wall blew up as me and Turles walked in. Many of his soldiers charged at us, but I simply lifted a finger, killing all of them. When his kids come up, Turles said, "I'll deal with the kids. You handle the big green man himself." I nodded as I walked up to Lord Slug. Lord Slug says, "Who are you?" I said, I don't really have a name." I would then think about what should I call myself, but then I remember King Cold saying, "Why would I keep someone with zero value?" I would say, "Call me Zero." "Okay, Zero, I am Lord Slug, and you shall be killed. This is what happens when those who are stupid enough to stand in my way get to meet me face to face." As he charged right at me, I then began to battle Lord Slug, as we pushed each other more and more, but I was holding back, simply to have a good time. Lord Slug stretched out his arms and grabbed me and threw me around the palace, but then I got up and flew right at him, punching him, sending him downwards. As me and Lord Slug battled, Turles battled his kids. Slug's children had lots of weird techniques, and they continued to battle each other more and more and more. As Lord Slug says, "I've never seen your race before. Wait a second. Zero, you're not related to Frieza?" "Yes, but King Cold kicked me out, said I was too weak, but I found a way to get stronger. And I found a way to overthrow my brother. I can use your help, you know." Lord Slug would say, "Help you? I am Lord Slug. Why would I ever help you?" Meanwhile, Turles shows off his full power and kills all of his kids. Lord Slug begins to shake in fear as he senses the power. Then, I end up unleashing my full power. As Lord Slug falls to the ground, "That's impossible! This has to be a bluff or something lie. No one can be stronger than me. I am Lord Slug." Lord Slug would turn giant and begin to charge a ki blast through his mouth. Lord Slug, not knowing I could breathe in space, tried to blow up the planet. He couldn't breathe in space, but he figured this: if he can't have the planet, no one can, and he would kill us all. But I merely deflected the ki blast with one finger, then charged right at Lord Slug, punching him straight in the face, causing him to be knocked out. Lord Slug would then wake up. As he saw me and Turles, he got up to fight. As he was about to fight, I simply threw him over a fruit of the tree of might. "Eat this." Lord Slug looked at us, annoyed, but he ate it, and then he felt massive power course through his veins. Since he was Namek, he didn't really need to eat, but he still could, and this power just filled through him. He said, "What is this?" "This is the tree of might. It destroys an entire planet and puts all of its energy into fruit. I only gave you one, so you wouldn't be too powerful, but if you join us, I can give you more. And you can get revenge on those Namekians. I assume you were kicked out, considering that you're evil, and Namekians usually are a peaceful bunch. Am I right?" Lord Slug says, "Yes, you are. Good. I can sense there's anger in your heart. I can sense that you want vengeance. Join us, Lord Slug." Lord Slug would agree to join, as Zero, Turles, and Lord Slug were now part of the new Crusher Corps. We all looked out, ready to defeat Frieza, but then we had an idea. As I asked, are the rumors about the Dragon Balls true? Lord Slug said yes they are, they grant any wish. I tried to get them, but Nail stopped me. But with the fruits from the Tree of Might, and you guys, we can do it. We can take over Namek, and get the Dragon Balls, and use the Whis to defeat Frieza. Turles would say finally. I was gonna plant tree after tree after tree until we could defeat him that way. But this seems way more faster. And with Frieza's empire, we can mass produce these seeds and achieve a level we've never achieved before. We all laughed as we got ready to go to Namek to get the Dragon Balls. Cut to the Crusher Core. As they fly out in space, they go out more and more and more. Eventually, however, we would reach planet Namek. Now, as we got out, we could sense that someone was off. Frieza was already here, but his power level seemed low compared to mine. Was I over-prepared? But then I could sense other power levels. We then cut to Vegeta, Krillin, and Gohan in the Ginyu Force. As they suddenly felt massive power levels land near them, they would look around, and suddenly I would jump down, with Turles and Lord Slug. Captain Ginyu would say, "Who are you?" "We are the Crusher Corps, and I am Frieza's brother." I said, smirking. As Captain Ginyu said, "So you're on our side?" "Nope." I would suddenly fly so fast, I would cut off Gildo's head instead of Vegeta. As he fell lifeless on the floor, the Crusher Corps would walk up to him. I would then look at Vegeta and say, "Hey, Vegeta, you got quite of a rebel streak, against Frieza anyway. Want to join my team?" Vegeta would say, "No." I didn't think so. "Well, since you're going to have that attitude, you can deal with the big one." I point at Recoome. "Lord Slug, Turles, show him what you got." Suddenly, Turles would charge, punching Jace, as Lord Slug would stretch out his arms, grabbing Berta, as Berta just laughed. "I'm the fastest in the universe. I can easily escape from this." Lord Slug said, "Fastest in the universe? Frieza's more powerful than all of you. Doesn't that mean he's faster than all of you?" Berta would say, "Shut up," as he spun around, causing a tornado, as he flew right towards Lord Slug. But Lord Slug just turned giant, shooting a massive ki blast from his mouth, destroying the tornado. As then Lord Slug flew at Berta, punching him, sending him flying down. Meanwhile, Turles was battling Jace, as they both were pushing each other further and further. But Turles knew what he had to do. He was winning the battle, as then he released his full power. It was so powerful it caused Jace to fall to the floor. As then he lifted up his hand and blew him up with a ki blast. Meanwhile, Berta got a fist straight through his stomach. As he began to cough up blood, he fell to the floor. He said, "No, please don't kill me. I could join you. I am Berta, extremely fast, extremely powerful. I can make a great addition to the..." But Lord Slug says, "Sorry, we're not accepting new members right now." As then he kicks Berta to the floor. As Berta looks up and begs for his life, "Please, please spare me. Please, I'll join the Crusher Corps. Please, please." But Lord Slug just blows him up and begins to laugh. "I don't think so." Suddenly, we cut to Zero, me, versus Captain Ginyu, as I'm pushing Captain Ginyu back, beating him up, destroying him. As I push him down to the floor, I then land beside him, saying, "Wow, Ginyu, the great captain. I've heard about the Ginyu Force. How it's one of the most elite fighting force in all of the universe, used by Frieza. His sword, used to conquer planets, and get the job done that not even Zarbon Dodoria would do. But look at you, you're pathetic. You call yourself a captain?" Ginyu got up and said, "Your body is quite powerful. Besides, it might be considered treason to take someone like you, related to Frieza. But with that power, I just can't help it. I'm sure he'll understand." "Understand what?" Suddenly, Captain Ginyu pierces a hole through his chest. As I am shocked, I begin to walk back. "What are you doing?" Captain Ginyu then says, "Change now!" As suddenly, he takes my body. As I'm in Ginyu's body, I fall to my knees. Turles and Lord Slug look as they realize something's different about me. They fly over. I say, "Guys, it's not me. He took my body." Turles would say, "That makes sense. That's how you got so powerful. You steal someone else's body with power." "That's right." As that was going on, we cut to Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, who are all battling Recoome, but Recoome is winning, as Lord Slug and Turles are too distracted, battling Captain Ginyu. Recoome looks like he's gonna kill Vegeta and everyone else, but suddenly a spaceship lands as Goku walks out of it and punches Recoome, sending him down to the ground. He throws a senzu bean at Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, using all of them up. As then he looks up, he says, "What's going on?" They explain everything to him. "So Frieza has a brother. He would sense my energy in Ginyu's body, but my energy It felt evil, sure, but it wasn't as evil as Vegeta. It's like I've been tortured and abused, and it even looks like I'm just looking for revenge. Eventually, though, Turles and Lord Slug would defeat Captain Ginyu, and as he changed, I would jump in front of the way, getting my body back. After this, Vegeta would fly up to Captain Ginyu and say, "I'm gonna kill you." "I don't think so, change now!" But Goku would throw a frog, causing him to get trapped in it. As I laid on the floor, not able to move, Turles looked at me. He thought about killing me, but if he did that, I wouldn't trust him anymore, and he needed me to defeat Frieza, so he picked me up and said, "You guys know where the healing pod is?" They would nod, as he dragged me and put me in the healing pod. As he walked out, Vegeta would say, "What's your story, Turles?" Turles would say this, "Well, I was a low-class Saiyan that my father sent away because he didn't want to work under you, Vegeta. He didn't want me to be a slave to royalty." Vegeta would say, "Huh, too bad. You would have been good working for the elite Saiyans. You would have brought us tons of planets." Low-class trash. They both got mad, but Goku told them not to fight. They got the Dragon Balls, and they wished for Piccolo to be back and to be brought back to Namek. As they did this, Lord Slug and Turles wanted to be immortal, and Goku and Vegeta had to start fighting them. But as they were fighting for the wish, the Dragon Balls turned to stone. Suddenly, Frieza would arrive. As they all looked up, they saw him. Frieza would say, "Oh, another Namekian." Lord Slug would say, "I'm not just a Namekian. I'm the Namekian that's gonna kill you." As Turles and Lord Slug, Goku and Vegeta all charged at Frieza in his first form, began to push him back. Frieza would look at all of them as Lord Slug would fly up and say, "Hello, Frieza. I've been waiting to do this for a while." Frieza would say, "I'm a Namekian. I thought I killed you all." But then Lord Slug would punch him, sending him flying. As you get back up, Turles and Lord Slug would begin to battle Frieza, laughing. As they would push him more and more, Lord Slug would say, "This is a piece of cake. If I knew you'd be this easy to kill, I would have killed you a long time ago." Suddenly, Frieza gets pissed as he transforms to its second form. Then Vegeta and Goku join in. Frieza tries to kill some of them, but there's just too many of them, and they keep crowding him over and over again. Frieza knew he had to transform to his final form, but as he transformed to his final form, suddenly Piccolo would arrive. But as he arrived, Lord Slug would look at him, and memories would go through his head. As they all battled, Lord Slug couldn't do anything but stare at Piccolo, but then he realized something. Piccolo had something that he didn't like deep inside him, and it felt so familiar. It was Nail's soul. As Lord Slug grabbed Piccolo, Piccolo looked behind and said, "What are you doing? We're fighting." Slug said, "So, now you fused with another Namekian. No matter, I will still destroy you just like I promised." Suddenly, Piccolo has a memory. Lord Slug tried to kill Nail and become the Grand Guardian, killing Guru and turning the Namekians into a warrior race, but he failed. He looks down and says, "We'll see about that, but for now, we gotta kill Frieza." Lord Slug nodded as they all began to battle. Frieza was getting more and more pissed off. So, Vegeta suddenly came back stronger as he came back with a Zenkai boost. So did Goku, as Krillin blew holes in him. Frieza was so confused, but then he figured it out as he killed Dende, then blasted a death beam straight through Vegeta's stomach. As Vegeta fell to the ground and began to bleed out, he told Goku his story, how he didn't want to do anything, how Frieza enslaved him. He enslaved his father. He turned him the way he was. He cried for the first time in his life, and he pulled out his hand and said, "Please, please, Kakarot, avenge the Saiyans." And then he died. Goku didn't know Vegeta had any humanity in him. He then began to bury him. As Turles and Lord Slug scoffed, not really caring, the Z-Fighters were impressed, and the Z-Fighters saw a side of Vegeta they didn't even know existed. Goku then flew at Frieza with the Kaioken and began to battle him, but it wasn't enough. Frieza had the upper hand. But he had an idea. Goku could use the Spirit Bomb. Suddenly, I would appear. "Hello, brother." Frieza would look at me and say, "That's impossible. King Cold and I are the only members of our species." Then I would tell him what happened. I would tell him how King Cold threw me away like trash. Frieza would then begin to laugh. I would say, "Look, I only want King Cold dead. I don't have a grudge against you, so..." But then Frieza would say, "You know, I would let you go and kill Father. That would be entertaining to watch. However, your people got in the way and stopped me from getting the Dragon Balls. So brother or not, you shall die." As me and Frieza would begin to battle, I would push Frieza more than anyone's ever pushed him, but I can only push him to 50% of his power. as then Frieza began to demolish me. No matter how hard I trained, no matter how many fruits I ate, it still wasn't enough to compete against Frieza. But Goku would begin to summon the Spirit Bomb as I would distract him. Goku would then throw down the Spirit Bomb as he said, "Zero, look out!" I looked up and jumped out of the way just in time as it hit Frieza and destroyed him. At least we thought. As we all looked, Goku would look at me and say, "We did it, yeah. But I'll have to kill my father now, then take over his empire." I was about to walk away, but Goku said, "Hey, when you're done with that, come to Earth anytime you want." Krillin said, "Are you crazy, Goku?" Goku would say, "I can sense it, Krillin. There's good in him." I would say, "I don't think there is any good in me, but I can't say no to a free meal. Besides, I would love to fight you sometime. Even a sparring match or a battle to the death makes no difference to me." Goku says, "Oh yeah? I think I'll take you up on that offer." But suddenly, Piccolo and Lord Slug both get shot as they fall down from a death beam. And Krillin gets lifted up in the air as Goku yells, "No!" and he blows up. Suddenly, Goku gets angry as he feels the energy course through his veins and he turns into a Super Saiyan.
Turles told me about the legend of a Super Saiyan, but I didn't believe him. He didn't believe it either. His hair turned yellow, and he looked so angry. He used to be so peaceful, so kind, and now he's full of anger. Is that the key to strength? Anger? I was looking as I was memorized. Goku said, "All of you, leave now!" Go on would drag Piccolo into the spaceship and leave, as I would put Lord Slug in his space pod and me and Turles would both leave and go off to Frieza's capital planet. As I was looking, I was thinking, is there a way for me to become stronger? Is there a way for me to destroy them? Well, I have to fight King Cold now. I had a feeling that Goku would win. All that matters was defeating King Cold and getting my revenge. But he was near Frieza's level, so could I do it? I didn't know. But me and Turles and Lord Slug went off to Frieza's capital planet to take it over and fight
on the
King
scenario. We cut to my space pods, landed on Frieza's capital planet. Frieza was defeated, but I knew that King Cold could arrive at any second. So, we quickly went to the palace. Many Frieza soldiers showed up, but I said take care of them, as Lord Slug and Turles charged at them and began to blast them down, destroying them, leaving nothing but dust, as I walked into the throne room and declared myself the new leader of the new empire. This will be Zero's Legion. It will be completely different from Frieza's empire. I'm going to make my own path in life, my own destiny, and I will rule the universe and turn it into anything I desire. At least that's what I wanted for now. As I did this, though, I thought of something. I remembered Goku saying about gravity training, so I had the scientists make a gravity room, and I began to train in it for days on end. I only got a few days of training, so did Turles and Lord Slug, and we also ate some of the Tree of Might fruit that was left. However, eventually though, Frieza's spaceship would land, as Mecha Frieza and King Cold would walk out. As both of them walked out, Frieza would look straight at me and say, "There he is, father, the trash you threw away." King Cold would smirk and say, "Aw, my little baby's come back to me. That's so cute. Too bad I didn't get rid of you the first time. Oh well. I've heard you've grown quite strong. Maybe it was a mistake to throw you away. You would have made a great general, or a great third man for Frieza. But oh well, too late now. Besides, you're now more a hassle than an asset." I would say, "Shut up, King Cold. You're gonna die," as I charged straight out, but then Frieza charged in the way, punching me, sending me flying back. Mecha Frieza just looked at me and began to walk up and laugh, saying, "If you're gonna touch Dad, you're gonna have to get through me, and that's not gonna happen. You see, you and that monkey teamed up against me. I would love to kill him first. However, you are threatening to take over my empire. I must take care of that threat before I go anywhere." I and Frieza began to battle. Meanwhile, Lord Slug and Turles began to battle King Cold. King Cold actually was surprised to see how powerful they were, and they actually gave him quite a hassle. However, King Cold was still much more powerful as he began to put them in their place. And we cut to Mecha Frieza, who was beating me up, launching death beam after death beam, saying it's over. As Frieza launched a death beam, he would then laugh. "Oh, are you gonna cry? All that effort for nothing. You needed a filthy monkey to defeat me. You are a disgrace to family. You teamed up with a monkey. And look at you. You have a little squad, and you act like you're all high and mighty. I run an empire. King Cold ran an empire. You're nothing but a bottom feeder, a parasite that feeds off others. I would say, shut up, Frieza, you're wrong. We're not family. I may be of your race. I may be of your blood. But family's not about blood. Family's not about race. Family's about people who care for each other. Goku showed me that. And I might not even have family with the Crusher Core. I might never have family. But I'll have my revenge, and I'll kill a bastard like you. Frieza said, shut up. But then I felt the anger course through my veins. My entire life, I was working to kill King Cold. My entire life, I was working to get my revenge. And Frieza was going to stop me? It wasn't fair. Suddenly, I would unlock a new form, a new awoken form. Mecha Frieza would suddenly shake in fear as he fell back, saying, What is this? I say, it's your downfall, Frieza. Frieza would go, impossible. You were my little brother. You are pathetic. You were born with a low power level. You are a disgrace. You cannot defeat me, he says as he screamed as he charged a death ball and threw it right at me. But then I punched the death ball straight in his face, destroying him instantly. As Frieza was destroyed, his body parts fell onto the floor. As then I walked towards King Cold. Lord Slug and Turles fell back, breathing heavily. As I walked towards him, King Cold fell back and said, Son, look, I'm sorry for what I did, really. I'm glad you survived. Hey, with Frieza dead, you can take over the Empire, you know? I can help guide you. We can rule it together, father, son. You can be the new heir. Wouldn't that be great? Funny, you're only saying that now that I achieved this power. King Cold says, yeah, it's true that I'm only saying it now, but look, you really impressed me. Besides, you can't kill your dad, right? I mean, don't you want to make up for all that lost time? You were talking about family and how it matters if they care about each other. Well, I can care about you. Why don't we rebuild things, you know? Start on a new leaf, you know? Let bygones be bygones. But I would just lift up my hand and say, sorry, but sometimes you gotta take out the trash. And why would I keep something with a value of 0? As I punched King Cold straight through the chest and pulled out my arm, as he fell down to the floor, and then I blasted him straight in the chest, just like he did to me, but I made sure to make it big enough where he wouldn't survive. As King Cold looked up, he was bleeding out, and he said, damn you, 0. As then he died. Slug and Turles would celebrate, and I would too at first, but after a while I just felt empty. I took over Frieza's empire, and even trained with my new form, but I could tell that without a common enemy, Lord Slug and Turles were plotting against me. The family, the group that I had is now against me. I couldn't find it in my heart to discipline them or get rid of them. I didn't know what to do, but then I remembered something. I remembered how Goku said come by anytime, so I decided to take a spaceship and fly down to Earth. This was a little while after Future Trunks showed up. A couple days, in fact. I would land down there and sense for Goku's power level. As I sensed it, I would fly over. Goku would be training, as suddenly he would feel a power level fly towards him. As I would land, I would go, hey, I'm not here for any malicious intent. Goku says, don't worry, your ki doesn't say that. You wanted to get some training done too. Yeah, I wanted to grow stronger, and I wanted some advice. Goku would say advice, but first, let me test out that Super Saiyan form. I would transform to my awakened form. As Goku would say, wow, that's powerful. Alright, I'll show you the power of a Super Saiyan. As Goku turned Super Saiyan, we would both begin to battle each other as it caused the entire woods to shake. As we went out into a mountainous landscape so we wouldn't hurt anyone. As then we began to battle. I used my awakened form to push Goku, and Goku used his Super Saiyan form to push me. And I actually had fun. I was used to fighting for my life, or fighting to destroy, or fighting for food. I wasn't used to just fighting for fun, but I just couldn't explain it. I was just so happy. I could just enjoy myself and not worry about dying or not worry about starving. It was just pure bliss as me and Goku battled each other. We were near equal in strength too. Goku would smirk and say, wow, you're pretty powerful, Zero. I could tell you changed a lot already. I would say, what the hell does that mean? I'm still as ruthless as old. I wanted to say that, but I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth. As we stopped fighting for a bit, Goku would look at me and say, look, Zero, if you want to pretend to be this ruthless dictator, you can, but I can tell it's not who you are, at least not anymore. I would nod, I would say, I know, but can we just continue fighting? Goku would say, sure. We both continued to battle each other, as we pushed each other with everything we had, pushing each other more and more and more, punching, ki blast. Eventually, Goku would charge a Kamehameha, as I would charge a mighty ki blast, and we both blasted into each other. We pushed everything we had, but the Kamehameha engulfed me. Since I was confused where I was in life, I wasn't all in it. Goku was, so he was able to defeat me. I fell onto the floor, as Goku threw me a senzu bean and I ate it. I would say, thank you, Goku. Goku would say, no problem. And hey, I want to give you a little advice before you go back there. What's that? No idea how to run an empire, but I assume it's by hurting people. If you hurt someone, deep down you live in fear because you're scared they will hurt you too. I looked down at Goku and realized he was right. I was scared my entire life. That's why I hurt people. That's why I killed King Cold. But me killing him didn't make anything better. It didn't solve the problem. It didn't give me the satisfaction that I wanted. Sure, it felt good for a while, but it didn't last. I said, I know, Goku, but I have no purpose now. Ever since I killed King Cold, I feel meaningless. Battling you gave me purpose. It made me feel alive. I don't know what to do. Goku said, you can help us defeat some androids. I said, what? Goku would tell me about the androids, and I would say, you know what? I'll show up here in 3 years' time, and I'll be more powerful than any Super Saiyan or any android, and I'll destroy them easily. Goku smiled and said, good, as I flew off into space. Meanwhile, we cut to Turles. Turles was angry that he was under me. He was angry that he had to work below me. He worked so hard to gather the Crusher Core, and now he's just a servant to me? He will find a way to kill me. He'll find a way to become a Super Saiyan. We cut to Turles. Turles has been training effortlessly. He's been training again and again and again intensely. Turles believes there's a way for him to unlock Super Saiyan. No matter how many fruits he eats, he doesn't come close to my power. And I've been training too. And he's been getting angrier with me. I've been conquering less and less planets, and turning my empire more into an economic one than a militaristic one. This pisses Turles off. Turles is seeing me become weak, become pathetic, have my heart slowly change. How could I do this? Worse yet, he formed the Crusher Core, and then I took it over, then he works under me. This is bullcrap. He must find a way to kill me. He needs to find a way to kill me. Turles thinks this as he trains. Meanwhile, we cut to me sitting on my throne room with Lord Slug, talking to him. But suddenly, I get a call on one of the scouters. Even though I don't really need it, I still use it to call people from time to time. As I answer, Turles says, I need your help on some planet. I said, I thought we weren't conquering planets anymore. Turles says, shut up, we need this one. It's valuable resources. I would just sigh and say, alright, fine, I'll go over. But I mean it. Conquering planets, eventually we'll run out of planets to conquer. Then we'll no longer be alive. This economic thing is for our survival. Turles knows that I'm just saying this. Even though it might have some truth to it, he knows that's not the main reason. He knows I'm going soft. Turles would just answer, yeah, come over here. I would fly out into space and head directly towards Turles. As I flew there, eventually I would land on the planet, but I looked around. It was barren. There was nothing here. Did he already conquer it? But no, there was no sign of life forms. Suddenly, Turles would walk next to me, and I would look at him and say, what is this? There's no one here. Turles would say, exactly. So, no one will be around to help you when I kill you. I could have got some help. Lord Slug probably is getting tired of you too, but I wanted to kill you with my own bare hands. I would look at Turles and say, you're insane. You cannot defeat, but suddenly he would turn Super Saiyan. And I remember Goku turning Super Saiyan, as then I looked at him. Go ahead, transform to that awoken state. I'll kill you. I transformed to the awoken state and said, listen, Turles, we don't have to do this. We don't have to fight. You see, I know that I wasn't always the best person, but Turles would then punch me and say, shut up. You know what you did? You took away the Crusher Core from me. I spent years building my crew, and you killed them and then took me over and made me work for you. And guess what? I'm sick of it. And now you want to do this economic stuff? Now you want to stop conquering planets? You're supposed to be an evil tyrant. You're supposed to be a being of pure power. Power is gained through strength. Strength is gained through conquering the weak. I would say that's wrong. Goku is one of the most powerful people I know, and he doesn't conquer the weak. Turles, you're wrong, I would say as I punched him, but then he would punch me, and then we would get into battle.
We would push each other with everything we had, with every bit of power, with every bit of strength, with every punch, with every ki blast. We felt our power becoming stronger and stronger. However, Turles was winning as he was defeating me. I hit the floor, breathing heavily, blood dropping from my body. As Turles said, it's over. There's a reason Frieza wiped out the Saiyans. He was scared of the might of a Super Saiyan, because nothing could defeat a Super Saiyan. I looked up at him, as then I remembered something. Goku used the Kaioken on Namek. Could I use it? I remember how he used it, but I never got taught it before. Well, as Turles fired a ki blast with all of his might, I used Kaioken times 5 and fired a ki blast back. They both hit each other as I was pushing with all of my might, with all of my strength, as it barely eclipsed his, hitting Turles and destroying him. I then fell down and passed out. A few hours would pass until I woke up and flew back to my home planet. The doctors would look after me. After that, I would call in Lord Slug. As Lord Slug walked in and said, "You wanted to see me?" I would look at him and say, "Turles tried to betray me." Lord Slug would smirk and say, "That cocky bastard. Let me guess, he unlocked the Super Saiyan, but you managed to defeat him." I knew all that stuff was just an act. You were just pretending to be good so he would get mad and try to kill you. I would say, "No, it's who I am now. This evilness, this path of destruction, it leads you nowhere. That's why, Lord Slug, I'm giving you a chance. Stop this or leave."
Lord Slug would look disgusted as he walked back. I didn't want to believe it was true, but it is, isn't it? You've gone soft. Look, Slug, I know that your mutation made you evil, but I could help you, and you could still be powerful. Listen, I defeated Turles, and I'm not evil anymore. That proves that strength doesn't come from hurting the weak. Lord Slug says, "Shut up. You know what you are? You're a disappointment. When you defeated all my kids and made me join you, I was actually excited, not mad, because I could get to see the universe, and I could fight opponents across the universe, and I can oppress them, and I can become more powerful than ever. But you have forgotten that power is what's most important in life. You and that Goku fella, he's corrupted you. I hope one day you'll come back to your senses, but until then, goodbye." Lord Slug would then go off into a spaceship and fly off. The next couple years, I would train and get more powerful until the androids would arrive. I would get off and fly straight to Earth. As I landed on the planet, something felt off. I could sense Goku's energy, but it was fading. I quickly flew over there as I saw Goku screaming in pain as he fought an android. I was about ready to step in as everyone saw me, but then Vegeta flew in and said, No, Zero. Let a Saiyan do this job." Let the Prince of Saiyans do the job is more like it. As Vegeta jumped in to fight the android, everyone looked shocked. Piccolo said, "You cannot defeat him, Vegeta." "Oh yeah? Maybe a Saiyan can't defeat him, but a Super Saiyan can," as he transformed into a Super Saiyan. "Tell me, do androids feel fear?" Him and the android began to battle. As we all watched, I was impressed that Vegeta unlocked this power. And I smiled, because, well, even though Vegeta was still not a great person, I could feel that he wasn't the way he was before. He was changing slowly, even if he wouldn't admit it. As Vegeta and the android fought, Vegeta would win and Dr. Gero would run away, and we would all hunt him down. As we were doing this, though, Goku was screaming in pain as I picked him up and said, "Don't worry, good friend, I won't let you die." They would give Goku the medicine, and I would fly off to put Goku down at his house. Gohan would tell me where it is, as I would fly there myself. As I landed there, I put Goku down to bed and said, "You are my first ever friend. If you die, I'll make sure Earth is safe." I smiled as he laid there in bed, screaming in pain, as then I flew out. We cut to androids 17 and 18 busting out of the door as I then arrived. 17 would look at me and say, "Who is this?" "I am Zero, the brother of Frieza, and I'm the one who's gonna destroy you." Vegeta would laugh and say, "No, I am." As Vegeta turned Super Saiyan, I went awoken form with Kaioken. We charged at 17 and 18. I would then begin to fight 17.
as Vegeta fought 18, but 18 broke his arm and pushed him back, and as I was fighting 17, he began to beat me up. 17 said, "Who are you?" "I am Zero. I told you this. I am the Emperor of the Universe, an Emperor of Justice." 17 would then begin to laugh and say, "You're quite funny, so you're an alien like Piccolo, interesting." As we fought, though, my Kaioken would wear out, and 17 would break both of my arms and push me down to the floor. Well, either way, you're still not strong enough to compete with me. Well, goodbye. Oh, next time you come fight us, make sure you're stronger, okay? I actually want to have fun, he said as he flew off. Krillin would arrive and give us senzu beans. As Vegeta got mad and flew off to train, I looked shocked. I trained for 3 whole years. I became stronger than a Super Saiyan, but it still wasn't enough. How could I not be able to compete with them? I didn't know what to do, so I flew up to the lookout and began to meditate and search deep within myself. As I meditated, I did a new type of training. I trained my mind to make myself stronger, to make myself more focused. Instead of just jumping in there and fighting with raw power, I would fight with precision. I trained my mental state. As that was going on, everything would appear as normal. Piccolo would fuse with Kami and everything would go up. But then Vegeta and Trunks went to use the time chamber, and I sensed Goku. As I smiled and looked at him, "You're back," Goku would say. "So you actually did show up. They told me you're the one who dragged me out, thank you. But I think we can handle this from here." "Really?" "Yeah, Vegeta and Trunks are going to go in the time chamber." Things would continue like normal, but after Gohan and Goku went out of the time chamber, me and Piccolo would go into the time chamber and begin to train. I would teach Piccolo the Kaioken, and we would push each other even more, and I even unlocked stage 2 of my awakened form. Me and Piccolo would actually grow and become friends. We would explain our situations, how Piccolo was the father of the Demon King and was forced to be evil, and I was too, but we overcame that. And we understood what it means to find peace, what it means to find inner peace, and what it means to fight not just for yourself, but for others. As we trained, we got stronger, and we got out, but days would pass as the Cell games would begin. Things would play out as normal as I began to watch, but when Cell popped out Cell Juniors, me and Piccolo easily were able to stop them, using our Kaioken to destroy the Cell Juniors. Gohan and Cell began to battle more and more, but Gohan couldn't tap into the potential. But then I would yell, "Gohan, believe in yourself. I know you can win, Gohan. You have a great potential locked deep inside of you. I know it's hard to get angry. I know it's hard to tap into that anger. But if you don't, all of us will die. Look at me. I used to destroy planets, but now I'm trying to save this one. I've changed for the better, and that's because of your father. It's because of the friends you have. Fight for your friends. Fight for your family." Gohan would nod, as this was just enough for him to turn Super Saiyan 2 as he battled Cell. But when everything plays out basically the same, but when Goku teleports away and blows up, I fall to my knees and begin to cry. Goku is my first friend I ever had, and I watched him die to protect the Earth. Cell would come back and Gohan would defeat him like normal. But as everyone began to talk and were excited Gohan won, I just flew off into space. I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk to them. I needed to be alone. Vegeta looked up, laughed. "What a crybaby." Piccolo says, "I bet that crybaby can beat you." Vegeta said, "Shut up."
I would be on the throne, bored. Ever since Goku died, there wasn't really much for me to do. I turned my empire from a militaristic one to an economic one. We traded, we sold goods, and everyone prospered. But that came with boredom. I didn't get much fights anymore. I was training, and I was planning on a secret project to make me stronger, but would that even make me happy? What's the point of becoming stronger without someone to fight, without someone to push you? Eventually, one of my soldiers would come up and say, "Sir, Goku is still alive." "What? How?" "We saw him on Earth with a fortune teller. He had a halo over his head." I was shocked. I decided to fly right towards Earth. As Goku was ready to enter the World Martial Arts Tournament, suddenly I would fly back down. As everyone looked at me, Goku would say, "Zero, nice to see you. How are you alive? Did you fake your death just to get rid of me?" Goku would say, "Calm down," and explain that he died. But Bob was able to bring him back for 24 hours. I would nod, and I would sign up for the tournament. Honestly, I would be pretty excited. Everyone would wait for the tournament to begin, and when it began, we began to watch in excitement. As everyone watched, suddenly Gohan would get his energy stolen, in one of the matches. As they ran off, we were super confused. We began to fly off after him, but suddenly, Shin and Kebito would show up and explain us everything. As I was shocked, I've heard rumors of Majin Buu from Frieza's files, saying he should never challenge him. They're trying to bring back that Buu, being so powerful, Frieza was told to never ever challenge him. Well, even with that, I'm way stronger than Frieza was, and everyone has Super Saiyan, at least all the Saiyans do. So we should easily be able to beat Buu, right? I thought as we landed down. Suddenly Deborah came up and began to spit on Piccolo, Krillin, and many others. However, I was able to dodge the spit. As I watched, they all turned to stone. I would yell, "What the hell is this?" Shin would say they were turned to stone by his spit. However, if we killed Deborah, they'll all be brought back. Let's go. We would start the beginning of the spaceship, but suddenly a man would greet us. His name was Pui Pui. Pui Pui laughed. "You think you can defeat me? Who is the fool who is dumb enough to challenge me?" I would say, "Well, let's play rock, paper, scissors to see who." Goku would say, "That sounds fair." Pui Pui's like, "You can't be serious." As then we all played rock, paper, scissors, Vegeta won. Vegeta looked at Pui Pui and said, "Prepare to fight the Prince of all Saiyans, and the one that will kill you." Pui Pui laughs and, "Is that supposed to be a threat?" Pui Pui would charge at Vegeta, but he would kick him, causing him to fall down. And as they battled, Pui Pui would get more and more beat up, until Vegeta just killed him because he was tired of him. I would say, "That's Vegeta for you." Vegeta would smirk and say, "Watch out, Zero, you might be next." I would laugh, seeing this as an empty threat. Goku would too. Vegeta being Vegeta. The next match would be me versus Yakon. As I blast a key blast, Yakon would absorb it, so I'd blast another, and another, and another. Yakon would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until Yakon blew up, causing a big explosion. As I laughed, "See, I told you he had a limit." "Shins, that's incredible. You must have used all your power." "Nope, all I did was put a tiny little bit of my ki inside of him." Truly, he was weak compared to me. But that's what happens when you fight for evil. When you fight just to hurt others, there's no real reason to get stronger. I would say this, but suddenly, I would grab my head, as I would hear Babidi's voice saying, "I disagree with that. Remember Goku? He left you. He could have been brought back with the Namekian Dragon Balls. He was your only friend. You literally cried when he was gone. And what did he do? He left you to go to the afterlife. And then he comes back and he doesn't even tell you. Goku never cared about you." I say, shut up, that's not true." As I grabbed my head and began to scream out in pain, scream out in anguish, Shin would look and say, "He's being possessed." As I yelled out, "I will kill you, Goku!" As suddenly an M would appear on my head. Shin would say, "Oh no." As Babidi would say, "Good. Now, take care of Vegeta and Goku." I would say, "No." Babidi would go, "What? I'm not your slave, Babidi. This is about Goku, no one else." As I charged, punching Goku, turn into my awakened form, Goku would turn Super Saiyan 2 and say, "What is this about?" I would look at him and say, "Revenge. You left me, Goku." Goku and I would leave the spaceship area to fight one-on-one. As Goku and me battled, we cut to Vegeta and Gohan. As I went down to Deborah looked at him and said, "This is gonna be easy." Vegeta said, "You think you can deal with me, the Prince of all Saiyans? But you should fight him, Gohan." Gohan would go, "Why?" "I fought last time. Besides, I want to see what you're made of." Gohan would turn Super Saiyan 2 as he fought Deborah, and they would both be evenly matched. Vegeta would be disgusted that Gohan didn't grow in power. He would just watch. Shin would say, "You need to get involved. We can't let him wake up Majin Buu." Vegeta would say, "Shut up. Even if they do wake him up, I'll destroy him." Shin got angry as Deborah and Gohan battled. They battled with every single thing they had, pushing themselves further and further and further. However, they both began to get tired out. Babidi was laughing as he gathered more and more energy from their fight, and from the fight with me and Goku. As we cut back to me and Goku, I punch Goku and pick him up and drive him into the ground. Goku fights me with my Majin powers, and my Kaioken powers are just too much. As I begin to beat him up, demolish him, Goku yells, "Why are you doing this? You could have been brought back with the Namekian Dragon Balls, but instead you let me be alone. You were my only friend. You were the only one who was there for me, and you just left me for no reason. You could have talked to me in the afterlife. I heard you can do that, but you never did it. And you come back and you don't even tell me? You're not even a true friend," I said as I slap him with my tail. And Goku starts to feel bad as he said, "I'm sorry, okay? But don't kill me over this. I pick him up with my tail and begin to choke him out. As he can barely breathe, I say, "I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna make you suffer. Just like you made me suffer. Just like you made me, alone, with no one. You know how painful that was? I was alone for most of my childhood, if not all of it. Just to be alone again. You were the person that was supposed to bring me happiness. You turned Vegeta good. You turned so many bad guys good, and you gave them hope. You gave me hope, just to run away and watch it be distinguished." Goku would say, "I'm sorry," as then I punched him, knocking him out. Then, I began to fly over to where they're at. Meanwhile, Gohan and Dabura blast a ki blast that is so strong, but Dabura's winning as suddenly Vegeta gets involved and punches Dabura, knocking off his head. But that was just enough energy released as Babidi awakens Majin Buu. As Babidi laughs, "I did it! Now with Majin Buu, I shall rule the entire universe!" Now Buu, kill them! Majin Buu would fight Gohan and Vegeta. But Majin Buu would be too much. Every time they destroyed him, he would simply regenerate and begin to beat them up. As blood poured throughout their body, they felt like they couldn't win. Suddenly, I would appear and bow down to Babidi. Babidi say, "Good, you're still under my control." But then I would get up and pick up Babidi and blast off his head. Buu would see this, and I would say, "You're free, Buu. You don't have to do this anymore." Buu would say, "I don't do it because I have to. I do it because it's fun for Buu. Now I should turn you into candy." As he shoots a candy beam at me, I dodge it. And I realize what I have to do. I turn Kaioken 40, and I begin to blast Majin Buu with every single bit of power I have, with every bit of energy that I have, destroying him. And then I pass out, but Majin Buu regenerates. As I wake up, I look around. The entire world is in ruin, and I feel like it's my fault. No, I know it's my fault. When Babidi took over my mind, all my negative emotions just unleashed. I couldn't help but be angry at Goku, but it wasn't his fault. Everyone has to die sometime. And just because he didn't want to come back and talk to me, I was so selfish. I flew into space and I knew what I had to do. I would fly out into space, deep into space, and I would have a metal seed. I had a plan. You see, this was developed a while ago, but it was dangerous. My scientist said it could destroy me if I consumed it, but there's really no other choice. As I threw a metal seed into the star, it then grew a metal tree. The metal was so strong it would stand the heat. As then I grabbed one of the fruits. It was just like the tree of might, but this tree was different. It absorbed the power of a star, and I ate it. And I felt the power course through my veins. As all the power of the star felt through me, my entire body began to heat up, as all my organs almost melted, but I survived, as I felt the power deep within. This took me some time. As I flew back down, Super Buu was fighting Gotenks. As I looked, Super Buu would look at me and say, "I remember you. Buu destroyed you. Buu left you knocked out though. Now you come back to kill Buu. Buu think you're an idiot." I say, "Buu needs to learn proper language." As then I turned gold. Majin Buu shook in fear, as he then walked backwards. "Buu can't believe this, such power!" As then I lifted my hand and launched a ki blast, destroying Majin Buu instantly. Gotenks said, "Well, man, you're awesome!" As then I fell down, passing out from the power. I almost died using up all that power. My body absorbed the power of a star. The star was so intense, it almost killed me. As I woke up, I saw Goku without a halo. I would say, "Goku, you're back to life." Yes. When you said all that stuff, it made me realize something, that there's a reason to live. Fighting you made me excited. And besides, the way you talked about me made me realize that I did abandon you, and I'm sorry. So that's why I decided to come back to life. I would smile and hug Goku as things finally got back to normal. Beerus would wake up and look at Whis, saying, "I had a familiar dream. I just can't remember what it was." As Beerus got in the bath, he would suddenly remember what it was and say, "It was a Super Saiyan God and a Golden Warrior." A Golden Warrior? Let me look into it. How many Saiyans are left? Beerus would say. Whis would look and say, "There's Goku and Vegeta." Whis would then look over and say, "Well, it looks like they have some offspring too, but none of them have the power of a Super Saiyan God like you wanted. However, there is one being that is actually gold, so maybe your prophecy isn't all fake." Beerus would say, "Really? Who is he?" "His name's Zero, but he can't hold his golden form for long without collapsing. He got it from absorbing the energy of a star. Beerus would say, a star? Now that's interesting. Who is he? He's the brother of Frieza. He killed him and took over his empire, but he's not nearly as bad as Frieza. In fact, he's recently turned over a new lease. Beerus would yawn and say, well, good for him. I'm glad Frieza's dead. I'm surprised that he's killed, but it would make sense it would be a family member. So he was born stronger than Frieza? Whis would say no. He was born so weak his father casted him away, and he had to train and work so hard to get to where he is now. Beerus would, that's interesting. Beerus would smirk and say, yeah, I'll congratulate him on his win when he's feeding me food. Let's go, Whis. As him and Whis would fly out through space, Beerus would think, even if he can't hold his form for long, it must be really powerful if it destroyed Majin Buu. Suddenly, Beerus would appear on my capital planet. As Beerus would walk up to my throne room, I would be shocked and begin to shake. Beerus? Beerus would say, yes, it's me, the god of destruction. You've heard of me? Yes, well, only for hearsay in Frieza's files. But he did have a picture of you, and it looks spot on. May I say, why are you here, my lord? Simple, I want to fight you. That golden form looks interesting. Let me see what you've got. I would turn gold and begin to charge at Beerus, punching him, sending him flying, and me and Beerus would begin to battle. But as we battled, suddenly the golden form wore out and I'd fall to the floor. Beerus would say, you can only hold it for a few minutes. I would say, yeah. Well, it's an impressive form, but it's not going to be fun if you can hold it for a few minutes. We train him so he can hold it longer. Whis would say, yes, sir. I'm gonna go find this Super Saiyan God thing. Whis would take me to his planet, as he would force me to meditate and do mind training. This mind training would help me keep relaxed. You see, when I transform to the form, it has the gravity of a star inside of me and begins to pull me apart, so I'm not able to keep it very long. But if I'm able to control this, I could get stronger. I begin to relax my mind and control it, as Whis begins to train me and do mental and physical exercises. Whis says, I hope my lord fights this Super Saiyan God. You know, asking me to train a mortal, he's never really done that before. I'm worried about him, really. Why do you say that? Well, usually he just eats, destroys, and goes to bed. But he's really obsessed with finding a fighter. I hope he doesn't destroy too much for this. I would look at Whis and begin to nod. As I train with Whis, we cut to Beerus, who flies to the planet. Bulma's having a birthday party, and Vegeta's there with Goku. Goku showed up late because he was training on King Kai's planet. As Beerus looks around, he says, Vegeta, is that you? Vegeta would look, and suddenly he would remember Lord Beerus. Vegeta would say, Lord Beerus. Everyone would look, and Goku would say, you know this guy? Know him, yeah. He's the god of destruction. God of destruction, that sounds strong. Goku would walk up to Beerus, and Vegeta would say, don't do this. He would grab Goku's hand and say, listen, Kakarot. Beerus is on a whole nother level. He is stronger than strong. Don't, but then Goku just says, oh yeah, he's stronger than strong. That sounds exciting. He walks up to Beerus and says, Beerus, can we spar? Beerus would look at him intrigued. Really? Out of all my centuries, I've never heard that before. Very well. Choose your strongest form. Suddenly, Goku would turn Super Saiyan 3. Beerus would say, oh, this is impressive. Yeah, not bad, but I know a friend who has a form even stronger than this. Is his name Zero? You already know? Yeah, I took him down easily. Well, I would have if his time didn't run out. Goku says, wow, you managed to outlast his time? Even though he's short, he must have hit you with all he had, so that's impressive. Goku would charge at Beerus with Super Saiyan 3, but Beerus would simply keep dodging and laughing at him. Is this all you got, Saiyan? Goku would say, don't underestimate me, as he charged a Kamehameha right in his face, but it did nothing, as Beerus appeared in front of him and said, you gave me a good fight, but you are still nothing, and just flicked him down to the ground, knocking him out. Are you next, Vegeta? Vegeta would say, not really. Beerus would say, good, at least there's still a smart Saiyan. Anyway, I came in search of a Super Saiyan God. But Vegeta had no idea what a Super Saiyan God was. Beerus would eat some food and enjoy himself, and talk to a few others. Earth food tasted delicious, and even though he was a bit disappointed, at least he got some good food. But he still wanted to know what a Super Saiyan God was. He still wanted to fight one. To have a golden warrior and a god against you? Now that would be exciting, purely exciting. He knew he wanted this. He knew he needed this, but he didn't know how to get it. Eventually, though, Goku would wake up and get an idea to use the Dragon Balls. As they used the Dragon Balls, He told him about the ritual. They're about to use it, but Beerus goes, "Stop. I'm going to bring you all to my planet, and you can use the ritual there. So that way, you and Zero can both fight me," he would say, smirking. They would say, "Awesome." Whis would say, "But Beerus, I can't travel them all there." "Don't worry. Goku has instant transmission, doesn't he? Just focus your energy."
Supreme Kai-Shin would talk to me through my mind and say, "Goku wants an instant transmission, dude. You have to power up." I would turn gold and power up with every single bit of power that I had, screaming with all of my might, screaming with everything I had. Ah! As I turned gold, Goku felt the energy and transported himself with everyone else there. As I looked around, I saw them all, and I turned back to base. Whis would say, "Very good, and you didn't even collapse. You're getting better with that power." Beerus would say, "Excellent. Soon I'll battle you and a god. Now, Goku, get ready." They would do the ritual on Goku on Beerus' planet, as he would turn into a Super Saiyan god, and then I would turn gold. As Beerus would fly up, me and Goku would both fly up to fight him. Beerus would smirk and say, "Now this is exciting." Me and Goku would fly up into space and begin to battle Beerus. As Goku was getting used to his power, I would be on the front lines, hitting Beerus with every single thing I got. Each punch, each blow caused the universe to shake. Beerus would say, "Now this is fun. Now this is impressive." As Beerus teleported behind me and kicked me down to the floor, but then I got back up and hit him straight with the tail. Blow after blow, punch after punch. Eventually, Goku got used to his form as he hit Beerus too. We both began to press him, surrounding him, hitting him with every single thing we had. But then we smirked at Beerus and said, "It's time for you to stop holding back." Beerus said, "You knew I was holding back. I only held back so you two can get used to your form. Now the real battle can begin." Beerus says this as the giant ki blast went closer and closer to them both. As one hit me and the other hit Goku, I easily deflected it with my fists, but Goku was having trouble, but he managed to absorb the ki blast. Beerus would say, "So that's what I thought. You're stronger than Goku still." Goku would say, "Really?" I would say, "Hey, don't sweat it. You were stronger than me for a long time. I know you can push this form beyond." Beerus would say, "Enough encouragement. Fight me already," as he would charge in and punch me straight in the face. As I would get up and punch him, Goku would continue the battle with us, but suddenly his god form would run out, as Beerus would flick him down to the planet. But then, as he was flicked, he said, "No, I refuse to give up. I refuse to surrender," as he turned into a Super Saiyan and flew back into space. Beerus was amazed. "How is this possible?" "I guess he absorbed the god form," I said, smirking. "You underestimated Goku. Shall we do this, friend?" "Yeah." As we both charged at Beerus with everything we got, we managed to battle each other, pushing each other further and further. But no matter how hard we fought, no matter what we did, Beerus won, as we fell back down to the planet. Beerus looked at us and began to charge a ki blast. It looked like he was going to wipe us all out, but then he laughed. "Calm down, I'm not going to do it. I had too much fun. I think you two will be great rivals." However, as that was going on, we cut to Lord Slug, who lands on New Namek. He's been searching for it for years, and he finally found it. As he hides his power level, he gets out, ready to plunder the planet and get the Dragon Balls and make a wish that will make him stronger than me and make him powerful enough to take over the universe. Let's get to it. I would be off training on my capital planet, but then I realized something. I needed more. I needed someone to be there with me. True, Goku and Vegeta were special, and they were close friends, but I needed something more than just a friend. Then I had an idea. We cut 2 months later as I travel to Earth. My spaceship lands, but not one person is scared or upset, like when I used to land. They all know who I am, and they sense my power level. As I walk out, I begin to look for people. Piccolo greets me. "Oh, what brings you here?" "I wanted to spar with Goku and Vegeta. I heard they've been training with Whis way more." Piccolo would say, "Yeah, but why haven't you been training with Whis? Don't you want to push your golden form more?" "I do, but I was busy taking care of him." I would point towards a little Frieza, my son. Piccolo would be shocked. As he could just barely walk, I would pick him up and say, "Isn't he adorable? Just barely walking at his age." I remember when I was a baby, I had to grow up fast. Don't let his cute tricks fool you. Even though he could barely walk, if he didn't have enough food, he would turn into a killing machine, I would say as I laughed. Piccolo would just nod. "How did you survive being all alone on a planet?" "Well,
As a baby, I just ate fruit and stuff, but then when I grew up, I began to hunt. Interesting. Me and Piccolo would talk as we walked out, and I would carry my little baby. So what is his name? His name? Frieza. That's similar to Frieza, yeah. I always wished that Frieza wasn't as bad as he was. Piccolo would nod as I bring him to the others. Master Roshi, Krillin, Bulma, and everyone is just chilling. As Bulma goes, "Oh, you have a kid. You must have met a lucky girl." "Lucky girl," I said, confused. "Oh, my kind produces asexually." "Really, how's that work?" "We shed our skin and put them into a lab tank, and then they develop." Krillin says, "Really?" "Yeah, we're mutants, so we need scientific things to help us develop. After all, if I just shed my skin normally, nothing would happen." They all looked intrigued. Eventually, though, as we wait and talked, Goku and Vegeta would arrive, and I would jump down. "Are you ready to spar? I think I can take both of you on at once." Vegeta says, "You underestimate me, and that will be your downfall," saying cocky. And Goku says, "Alright." Goku and Vegeta would turn blue, as I would turn gold, and I would continue the battle. As we flew up in space and began to battle, suddenly we would all stop, as we felt a massive power level land near us. I began to shake. "That's Lord Slug. How did he get so powerful?" Vegeta said, "You should have killed him." I know, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it." And I also sent other key signatures too. Vegeta, and Goku flew over to the spaceship as Lord Slug got out with the heaters and began to laugh. "I found a way to defeat you." I would yell, "Piccolo, protect my son." Piccolo would nod. As Piccolo would run down and protect my son, the rest of the Z fighters would watch as me, Goku, and Vegeta got ready to fight. I would say, "I get Lord Slug. This is personal. You two take out them." Goku and Vegeta would begin to fight the heaters. As I fought Lord Slug, I went into my awakened form. As me and Lord Slug began to battle each other, punch after punch, the planet shook. But then I smirked and said, "I know you're holding back, Slug." Slug says, "I know you're holding back. Let's show this world what we have." As Lord Slug turned orange and I turned gold, I was shocked. Lord Slug was stronger than me. How could this be? Slug laughed and said, "That golden form is pretty powerful, but it's nothing to this power." I would say, "How did you get this strong?" "Simple. I got the Dragon Balls and wished to unleash my potential. I also wish to bring Turles back, but it seems he's gone rogue. No matter, I'll kill him later." "Turles, huh?" I would then smirk and say, "Maybe he learned his lesson not to mess with me. The lesson you'll learn right here, right now." As we battled, I began to get beat up. But then we cut to Piccolo protecting Frieza, as suddenly Turles would walk up behind him. Piccolo would turn around. Wait a second. Turles, how did you come back?" Turles would smirk and say, "Lord Slug brought me back with Namek's Dragon Balls. No matter how hard he fought, no matter where he went, he couldn't reach the power he wanted, so he had to wish for it. Now I'm coming for his son." Piccolo would say, "You're not gonna kill his son." "Kill? Why would I do that?" My entire life, the cards were stacked against me. I was born a low-class Saiyan and sent away. Then I worked years to get a crew, just to watch it be destroyed and forced to work under Zero. Then when I finally get second in command, Zero changes his empire, so I'm not in power anymore. It's not fair. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, the cards were always stacked against me." He yells as he turns Super Saiyan 3. Then he looks at Piccolo and says, "Let me take his kid. Let me train him. Let me make him stronger. And let me make it so he can kill his father so I can get revenge. Come on, aren't you tired of living like this? Don't you want to join?" Piccolo then punches him, says, "Shut up. Zero's a great man now. Sure, he may have done some bad things in the past, but he was forced to be like that. Turned savage because it was the only way he could survive. It was the only way he could thrive. But look at you, trying to kidnap an innocent man's son. You make me sick. Bringing an innocent child into this." Piccolo and Turles would begin to fight, but Turles had the upper hand. Piccolo would say, "How have you gotten this strong?" When Lord Slug brought me back to life, he tortured me, he beat me, he broke my bones and brought me back again and again, Zenkai after Zenkai, power boost after power boost, and he put me through the most intense training ever, just so I could be a tool. When I get Zero's son, I will use him to destroy Lord Slug, to destroy him, and to destroy everything that stands in my way. I am Turles, he would say as he punched Piccolo full power, causing him to die. At least so he thought, as he fell to the floor lifeless. Turles went over and picked up Frieza, but then he heard the word, "Special Beam Cannon!" as a special beam went straight through his chest, as Piccolo pretended to be dead and lowering his power level. Turles hit the floor and began to bleed out. "How did this happen? I am Turles! After all that training, after all that fighting, after all those fruits, after everything I did, no matter what," he began to cough up blood. "I always lost, and that's how I end. My scheme gone. Nothing I do will ever matter," he says as he begins to cry as he dies. Piccolo would close his eyes and say, "I'm sorry. You showed humanity right when you died, but it was too late. I promise I won't forget you." As Piccolo then put Frieza's back, he then has a plan, but he promised to watch Frieza. So he decides to bring Frieza to the lookout where he can be safe, so then he goes down and tries to get some Dragon Balls. If Lord Slug got his potential unlocked, maybe Piccolo can do the same thing. Meanwhile, we cut to Lord Slug, who was battling Vegeta, Goku, and me in his orange form, keeping us all back. As I begin to pant, breathe heavily, Lord Slug laughs and says, "You really think you can defeat me? I have unlocked my potential. I have become the ultimate Namekian god. The ultimate Suddenly, though, the entire sky would turn dark as Piccolo wished to have his potential unlocked. Suddenly, Yellow Piccolo would fly in and punch Lord Slug. As we all got on him, eventually Lord Slug would start to get worn out, so he decided he would have to kill us. As he blasted Ki Blast straight at Vegeta, pushing him down to the floor, then stretched out his arms and grabbed Goku and shoved him into the ground. Then Lord Slug began to laugh and say, "I think it's time I tell you that I will kill all of you, including your son." "That's right, Zero. I know about your little child. Your spies told me about them. So weak, so helpless. Maybe I'll eat him. You know, Namekians don't have to eat. But I can't help but eat when I see such a delicious, yummy treat." Suddenly I got up and began to scream in anger, to scream in power, and used my awoken form and my golden form in one transformation. As everyone's shocked, I said, "The awoken form uses a lot of stamina, so I didn't combine it with gold. In fact, gold was so unstable that I couldn't, but now that it's stable, I can finally do it." And I picked up Lord Slug and began to fly him out into space. Lord Slug was still stronger than me, though, so he grabbed both of my arms and ripped it off. I began to scream in anger, scream in pain as I cried and flew into space. Namekians can't breathe in space, so as I flew him out into space, he died. And I fell back to Earth with no arms. I would wake up with my arms healed, and Frieza would run towards me and hug me the best he could and say, "Dada." That's his first words. I picked him up and began to smile. As Goku said, "Hey, that was one hell of a thing. You threw that guy into space." "Yeah, I did what I had to." Vegeta said, "You just stole my kill." I would then smile and say, "Vegeta, Vegeta, same old, same old." We would all laugh. Meanwhile, we cut to Champa, who's ready to suggest a tournament between Universe 6 and Universe 7. We cut to Champa as Champa walks in to Beerus' place. Beerus looks at him and goes, "What do you want, brother?" "You remember the fight we had about the Super Dragon Balls?" Beerus would say, "Yeah, we'll have an idea, a tournament between the two of us. The winning team gets the Dragon Balls. And I also have this." He threw Beerus an egg. As Beerus looked at it, Champa would begin to laugh and say, "Experience this. Experience the food of the 6th universe." Beerus would eat it and say, "Not bad, but check out this," as he would show him ramen. Champa would be embarrassed. How could the 7th universe have such great food? They would have a discussion, and he would decide if he won, he would take Earth. Beerus and Champa would nod, and as Champa left, Beerus decided to go down to Earth and explain it to everyone. Meanwhile, we cut to me and my son Frieza, as he's able to walk and run, since Frieza races develop quickly. I am so happy. As we play together, I took time on my busy schedule to spend time with my son, and I'm having a good time. Frieza is my life and joy. Frieza is what keeps me going. However, eventually Beerus would walk in and say, "Hey, I need something for you." And I would go, "Not to be rude, Beerus, but I'm taking time off to spend time with my son. Is this important?" And then Beerus walks up to me and says, "Not to be rude, but I'm taking time off to kill you if you don't come." I sigh and say, fine. What is it? And Beerus explains the tournament. So I pick up my son and says, do you think he could watch? You gotta take your son to a dangerous tournament. Not really a good father. He'll be fine. He'll be next to you, a god of destruction. Beerus says, I'm no babysitter. I know, but at least he'll be safe around him. Whatever gets you to come. I carry my son bound to earth as I see the others ready. It's gonna be me, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Manaka. We're all there as we went off and went to the tournament. As we got there, I would see Frost and be smiling, as Frost would look at me too. I would walk up to Frost as Goku and Vegeta talked to Cabba. Hey, so you're a member of my race. That's pretty cool. Frost would look at me, and he thought about dropping the axe since he figured I was the same way, but at the same time, he needed to be safe to keep his cover. So he just looked around and said, yeah, it is pretty cool. So what do? I run an empire. I used to be really bad, but I turned it around. Frost would smile, thinking maybe it's code, and he would tell me something too, and walked off. He told me that I help others too, but sometimes it's fun not to. That gave me a weird vibe. Was he not really a good guy? I thought this as I sat up on the stands. And the first match was Goku versus Botamu. As Goku went out, the yellow bear went out too, and they both began to battle. But as they were battling, I would look at Frost. Something seemed off about him, I just didn't know what. As I looked at Frost, he looked at me. He smiled at me, but the smile did not feel sincere. It felt deeply hatred. It felt malicious. But I just couldn't shake the feeling that he was trying to analyze me as I analyzed him. Eventually, however, Goku would beat Botamu, defeating the yellow bear. And the next match was Frost versus Goku. As Frost went up, Goku went up too, and I began to watch them fight. The fight went on normally, until Goku went Super Saiyan and began to beat up Frost. It looked like Goku was too powerful. No matter what Frost did, he would lose. Goku had him on the ring, and Goku said, well, I wish you could have donated the money to charity, but sadly, you're not going to get the chance. Don't worry. I promise I will give it to a good cause. But suddenly, Goku feels dizzy as Frost poisons him. Goku falls out of the ring, shocking everyone as Frost wins. And I realized something. Frost cheated. He had to have cheated. There's no other way he could have beat Goku. Goku's power just so far above him. But how did he cheat? Piccolo's going to go up next, but I said, can I go up next? I don't trust this Frost fella. Everyone looked at me. Frost seems like such a nice guy, but that battle did seem suspicious. Beerus agreed, as the next match was between me and Frost. Frost and I would then begin to battle each other. As we battled each other, we pushed each other. But suddenly I went into my awoken state, and I charged at Frost and began to beat him up. I began to push him further and further. Frost was still able to keep up, but as I got channeled more and more energy, he couldn't. Eventually, he tried to poison me, just as planned, as I grabbed his arm and lifted it, and I turned gold. Look at what he's trying to do. I showed everyone the needle. As the referee came up and said, you're disqualified. I said, no, let me beat him like this. The referee said, but he reluctantly agreed, as I fought Frost and went into my awakened golden state, and then began to beat him up limb from limb. This is what true power is, Frost. This is what you get through hard work and dedication. I had to absorb a star to get my golden form. That almost killed me every time I used it. I had to train every single day. I had to push my body. I had to nearly die again and again and again just to achieve this great power. And all you do is cheat and hide behind your good guy status. Well, guess what, Frost? You're a coward. And as soon as you stop being a coward, you can achieve gold, just like I did. I said as I kicked him off of the ring and he fell to the floor. Frost was humiliated, angry, but at the same time he was impressed. At the same time he felt he learned something. He got up and began to crawl to the stadium. And the next match was me versus
Cabba. As Cabba got up to fight me, I would say, now turn Super Saiyan. Cabba would say, are you talking about that weird transformation your friend have? I don't have it. I would then think of how to transform. Then I realized something. When Goku turned Super Saiyan on Namek, he lost Krillin, his best friend. So maybe anger is the path to do it. I would then take a deep sigh and say, Cabba, I'm sorry. Sorry about what? But then I'll start to beat him up, brutalizing him, saying I'll murder his family, saying I'll kill him, saying I'll kill everyone around him. People around start saying, has he turned evil again? But Vegeta would see this and laugh and say, I know what he's doing. As I kept brutalizing him, he said, I'm gonna kill you and everyone on your worthless planet. But then he turned Super Saiyan and said, do not hurt them! I would then say, it worked. As Cabba would realize what I did, said, oh, I get it. You made me angry, so I turned Super Saiyan. Then me and Cabba would begin to battle, as then I would turn gold and knock him out with one punch. As he fell to the floor, I turned back, and I was the winner. The next match was me versus Vegeta.
Vegeta would suddenly shoot lava straight from his mouth, blasting it at me as I began to dodge it, going from side to side. As he blasted mouth blast after mouth blast, I began to smile. Wow, Vegeta, you're pretty unique. Too bad you're not that strong. Since there wasn't a hole in the ring, Champa wasn't able to do his little trick, so Vegeta didn't really stand a chance here. Vegeta would use his strength and power against me, but it really didn't do much. Eventually, I would just turn to my awakened form, go Kaioken times 3, and punch him off the ring. The next match was between me and Hit. Match began. Hit would do a time skip, hitting me right in the stomach as I fell back, but then I got back up. Hit would do it again and again, but suddenly I would predict his moves as I blocked it. Hit would look at me shocked. What did you just do? I predict your moves, so you move up forward in time and use a powerful speed. Well, if I predict where you're gonna go, then I could just hit you that way. I said, smirking. Eventually, though, Hit managed to increase his time skip, so I went gold, awakened formed, as I charged straight at Hit, punching him straight in the face. But then he does his time skip, and we push each other more and more. I use my intense speed to get my distance as I fire Ki Blast after Ki Blast, but he uses his intense speed and time distance to close the distance. The battle lasts for a few minutes. As we push each other further and further, I feel more and more fatigued. I could try to use the Kaioken with this form, but that's risky, and if I do it wrong, I could die. And I realized something. What's the point of doing that? My son's watching. If I die just for a battle and a match, it's not really that important. Besides, I can learn how to use the Kaioken with golden form when I'm around doctors and people who can heal me. So I would just jump off the ring, and Hit would be declared the winner. So, as Goku saw this, it was his turn to fight Hit. And well, since Hit was pretty winded, Goku was able to win. But we cut to someone watching this. We cut to Zamasu as he watches Goku fight Hit on TV, and it gives him an idea to help his plan to wipe out all mortals. Everything seemed normal and peaceful. However, eventually, a time machine would appear as Trunks went back to the past. As future Trunks went out of his time machine, he looked around and saw Goku. He began to lift up his sword and swing it at him. As Goku went back, he said, "What's going on?" Trunks said, "Okay, you're normal." "Normal?" Goku said, confused. Trunks would then explain Goku Black. Everyone there was shocked. But then suddenly a portal would open up, and through this portal came Goku Black. Goku Black looked around as he saw Goku, and Goku got up, ready to fight him. As Goku transformed Super Saiyan, him and Goku Black began to battle each other, pushing each other, and everything happened just like in canon. Meanwhile, Piccolo is watching this, and he knows what he has to do. He's ready to fight. Goku Black then suddenly gets stuck through the portal. Back again. As they all see this, they decide to repair the time machine and start to investigate, just like normal. However, we cut to me, as I'm with Frieza, holding him, playing with him, and just having a good time. But suddenly, one of my soldiers walk up to me. "Sir, what is it now? We were trading with another planet, and we found this distant world with a distress beacon. It was 2 Saiyans. I was shocked. I didn't think there was any Saiyans left, but I would say bring them in. As they brought them in, I saw Broly and Paragus. I looked up to Broly and said, 'This is a big one. What's your name?' 'My name's Broly,' and they would tell me their whole backstory. Well, Vegeta and the planet was destroyed a long time ago," I said, as Paragus then sighed, annoyed that he wouldn't get his vengeance. But then Paragus would look up and say, "So who are you? You look related to Frieza." "I'm his brother. I killed him for the throne." You defeated Frieza. Yes, I did. One of the hardest battles I've ever fought in my entire life. Paragus would say, I would say so. Don't worry about your son. I'll train him and take care of him, and we'll figure out how to deal with that anger problem, I promise. Paragus would then smile, as then I would take Broly and train him. As that was going on, we cut back to Goku and the others, as they just finished the time machine,
And Goku, Trunks, and Piccolo all get in it and travel to the past. As they get to the past, they look around, the city destroyed in ruins. As suddenly Goku Black flies down and begins to laugh. You brought Piccolo, a Namekian. You should have brought Vegeta instead. True, he's just an appetizer, but even then the appetizer
would at least be exciting. But look at this, you're just a Namekian. How can a peaceful race come close to the power of a Saiyan? Suddenly, Piccolo looked at him, as then he turned orange and stretched out his hand, grabbing Goku Black and smashed him into the floor. Goku Black was angered and turned rosé, and they began to battle each other. But Orange Piccolo began to brutalize Goku Black. Suddenly, Zamasu appeared as he flew towards Goku Black. But then Goku flew up and punched him, saying, "What are you doing here?" Helping him, of course, with my plan, Project Zero Mortals. Zero Mortals? But Goku Black got beat up more and more and more, until eventually Zamasu said Kai Kai, teleporting to Goku Black and teleporting him away. As they teleported back to the log cabin, Zamasu would then heal Goku Black the best he could, as Goku Black got up feeling a massive Zenkai boost, ready to go out and fight. But then suddenly he would hear footsteps. As he turned around, it was Future Zero. Goku Black said, "What are you doing here?" Future Zero simply smirked and said, "You guys outlived your purpose. I needed you to draw them out to give me a true challenge. I could have waited for you guys to get stronger and fight you all, but I'm scared Piccolo probably would have killed you. He's smart enough not to let you get away again, and even with that Zenkai boost, you're not strong enough." Suddenly, I'd lift up a finger, killing Goku Black instantly with a death beam. Then I raised my hand saying Hakai, destroying Zamasu. As then I flew to them. They looked up. Goku said, "Oh, it's Zero." Piccolo said, "I don't sense their energy. At least I don't sense Zamasu's energy. Did you take them out?" Suddenly, I would turn platinum, as I would punch Piccolo so hard he went sent to the ground, and I would say, "Shut up. Since you're acting so friendly, I assume you must have befriended me in your timeline. That's too bad. Too bad I didn't get that." Piccolo says, "Why are you doing this?" Simple. I was bored and lonely. You see, my entire life, Turles and Lord Slug used me, and I got tired of it. So I decided to kill them. Then I went to Earth, only to find that it's in ruin, and that the person who promised me I can visit any time, Goku, was not there. This angered me, and my rage kept building up further and further. Eventually, however, though, a man named Beerus would fight me and train me, and he was the closest thing I ever had to a friend, even though he was just using me. But even then, he died. So then, I decided to screw it and destroy this entire universe. All this universe gave me was hardship. All this universe gave me is pain. It's time that I get revenge and destroy everything here. Goku says, "That's insane. You'll just be alone." Exactly, I've been alone my entire life. It's time that I embrace it and get rid of everything in my way. I fly down and look at Goku and Orange Piccolo and Trunks. I don't care about the consequences. I don't care if I'm alone forever. All I care about is getting revenge on a universe that never cared about me. I charged in and punched Goku, sent him flying to the floor. And then Orange Piccolo got up, and they both began to battle me. Trunks got in there too, and I battled all of them, all three of them, but they were no match for me. I beat them all to a bloody pulp, until eventually Piccolo used the solar flare, remembering it from Krillin and Tien. As I got blinded, suddenly I looked around as the time machine went away, but then I smirked, saying they'll be back. At least this will be fun. Suddenly, Goku, Piccolo, and Trunks all came out from the time machine. As Vegeta said, "Did you guys do it?" "No, we were stopped. Zamasu and Goku Black were both destroyed, but someone else was there. Zero," and they told him what happened. Beerus would say, "So I trained Future Zero, interesting. Now he's angry and wants to destroy the universe. Sounds like a destroyer throwing a hissy fit. I like his attitude. Bone would say, "Are you serious? He's trying to destroy everything. You like his attitude?" I mean, he did have a sad life. Could you really blame him? Beerus says as he continues to eat. They get an idea. Vegeta is sent to investigate Zamasu, while Goku and Piccolo go out to try to find me. As Goku enters transmissions to my capital, I am with Broly training him. Goku looks and says, "Oh, who is this guy?" It's Broly, one of the last surviving Saiyans. This is Goku, the guy I told you about. I told Broly and Paragus about the Saiyans, but I didn't mention Vegeta, since he might hold a grudge against him. Broly and Goku looked at each other and began to talk. Goku said, "Well, there's this future you, and he's causing trouble." "Really? That's interesting." "Well, do you mind if I bring Broly? He has great potential, and is very powerful. I'm sure we can bring him down if I bring Broly." Goku nodded as he teleported us back. Suddenly, I got an idea. As we went back to Earth, I brought Broly up to the time chamber and began to train him for months straight, to enhance his power and strength, and to make him more calm and focused, and be able to tap into that anger without destroying everything. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Beerus investigated Zamasu and decided to destroy him. And me and myself even got stronger. I combined gold with Kaioken, created Ruby. As me and Broly went out, Goku and Piccolo and Trunks, we all got... Well, most of us didn't get in, just grabbed onto it since there wasn't enough room for all of us to fit, but we were able to hold on tight enough for us to go through time. As we went back to the future, we all got out, as Future Zero appeared, and I looked up, seeing my future self. He looked down upon all of us, saying, "There's me!" As then he got angry. "It's not fair, you know. In my time, I had no friends, no one to be with me, and you get all of them. You get all the attention." He flies down. I would say, "Listen, me, it's not too late. You don't have to go down this path." "Yes, I do. I've already destroyed enough. They hate me now. Besides, I realized something. I need to destroy this universe. I need to get revenge on whatever happened. I got revenge on King Cole, but that wasn't enough. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, it wasn't enough. I need to destroy this entire universe, and then repopulate it with my kids. That way, I'll never ever be alone, and the entire universe will be filled with people who love and care about me. It might take a couple 100,000, maybe even 1,000,000 years to repopulate the whole universe, but I'm patient, and I'm sure I can do it. And I saved up enough pods and machines to try it out. This will be so exciting. I will finally be loved, and all I need to do is destroy the universe and rebuild it. I would look at myself and say, "Look, I know you're alone, but mass genocide is not the answer. You can't just..." But then he punched me, and I began to battle him. Piccolo began to battle him. We all began to battle him as we pushed him further and further, but it wasn't enough. Future me was just too powerful. As he laughed, "You know what this platinum form is? It's a form that I invented. It combines my awakened form with ultra ego. A technique from the gods of destruction themselves. I was born to destroy this universe. I was born to cleanse it, and I was born to turn it into something new, something better," he said as we all began to battle him. But no matter how hard we fought, no matter what we did, we couldn't win. Even when Trunks turned into his rage form, it wasn't enough. However, what he didn't know was Goku was using a spirit bomb, and he was taking our energy. Suddenly, he threw the spirit bomb right at Future Zero. As Future Zero caught it, about to throw it back, but then I shot it with all of my might. Piccolo shot it with all his might. Trunks shot it with all his might. We all did a ki blast right into the spirit bomb. As he was holding it, it began to push him back. Future Zero laughed and said, "This will not kill me. Once I absorb this attack, I'll simply..." But then he looked up and realized it was shooting him straight towards the sun. As he hit the sun, he was erased. His body was burnt up. But Future Zero smiled, realizing his pain and misery is gone, and maybe he can find peace in hell. As we all looked up, we began to breathe and pant. We did it. We destroyed Future Zero. Future Zero was just a man who was tortured, a man who was beaten, and a man who just wanted some friends and family, but he never got it. Cut to Zeno, who was extremely bored. However, Goku came back and reminded him of the Tournament of Power, so he decided to call Whis and Beerus and get it set up. After that happens, we cut to me. I start to train like I've never trained before, but I can't push myself beyond Ruby. Ever since I fought my future self, I saw how powerful I could become. But could I ever reach a level like that? Do I need Beerus to reach a level like that? Should I ask him? I mean, Beerus used to not be that fond of me, but I feel like we've grown past that, at least a little bit. Suddenly, though, Whis and Beerus would appear behind me. I would look at him and go, "What is it now?" Beerus would say, "It's another tournament. This one's more serious. If we lose, our entire universe will be erased." I was shocked to hear this. A battle where if I lost, everything was gone. My son, my friends, everything. Not even dead, but erased. There's no afterlife. I took a big gulp and nodded. Beerus said, "Get ready to fight." As Beerus and Whis left, I went back and got Broly and began to travel to Earth. As Broly was going to take the place of Master Roshi since Master Roshi was quite old. We all got there and were ready to go. As we all went there, we began to look around and we see all the other teams and we saw the Grand Priest staring at us. And the Grand Priest was ready to start off this tournament. The tournament began as Universe 9 took a gamble and went after me and Vegeta. As me and Vegeta were caught up in the trio of danger and all of the wolves and all of their powers came straight at us, Broly was left alone. And Broly didn't really know what to do. He ran to try to find another teammate, but as he was running, suddenly someone would catch up to him. It was the Pride Troopers. The Pride Troopers would surround Broly and begin to beat him up. But as they did this, he went angrier and angrier till he went into his Akare form. And he flew at one of them, kicking them off the edge, and began to fight all of them and pushing them further and further. However, this got the attention of Toppo. As Toppo went close, Goku ran in and grabbed Broly, beginning to run out, but Toppo jumped in the way. So Goku had to go blue and began to fight Toppo with everything he had, both of them pushing each other further and further. As the battle went on, me and Vegeta began to destroy the 9th universe, kick member after member, fighter after fighter off. Suddenly, the 9th universe was erased as we all watched. But something felt off. The other fighters, they were strong, but they didn't feel like the real threat to me. I don't know, just something felt weird. As the battles kept going, eventually, Broly would be separated again, and Kale and Caulifla will find him and begin to battle him. Broly was angered by this. He was angered of getting pushed around. He wasn't a fighter. All he wanted to do was just be himself, but he didn't even know who that was, because he was forced to fight his entire life. Anger just kept boiling and boiling and boiling until he transformed to a Super Saiyan, combined with his Akare form. As he charged straight at Kale and Caulifla, began to beat them up, destroy them, as they felt the pain course through their body. As they felt them bodies start to bleed, they tried to talk to him, but Broly was just an angry beast. Suddenly, Champa knew what he had to do. "Put on the earrings," he said, as suddenly Kale and Caulifla put on the earrings and became Kefla. Kefla and Broly began to battle. At first, Kefla was far stronger than Broly, but as they kept fighting, he kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. She knew he had to knock him off the edge, so began to charge up a massive ki blast to blast him with everything she had. As she was charging, she blasted the ki blast straight into Broly's face, and it started to knock Broly off the edge. But right before he was knocked in the edge, he screamed in anger, he screamed in pain, and he screamed in power as he began to push it back more and more. As he walked further and further, the ki blast was pushed back. Kefla put all of her strength into this ki blast, but Broly just screamed as he ran straight through it and punched her straight off the edge. This used so much power, though, that he was passed out. 2 Namekians would show up to throw Broly off the ring, but suddenly an arm stretched out as it grabbed Broly and put him with Gohan. Then Piccolo jumped in. As the 2 Namekians looked at Piccolo, they said, "You really think you could take us on? We absorbed every Namekian on our planet." Piccolo then begins to laugh and says, "So you thought that was the answer, to give up some of your personality? I've done that before. However, I found that there was a strength beyond that, a strength that you can only achieve through unlocking your potential." Both of them looked confused as suddenly Piccolo turned orange. As they were shocked, Piccolo stretched out his hands, punching both of them, sending them flying. As they both got up, ready to fight Orange Piccolo, but Orange Piccolo fought them both. Frost saw this and knew he had to help, so he began to run in, but suddenly I would jump in the way. "You going somewhere?" But then Frost would smirk and say, "I have something to deal with you." "Oh yeah? What is that, cheating like you did last time?" Suddenly Frost would turn gold As he turned gold, I would say, I'm impressed with you, Frost. You must have worked hard to achieve that form. Did you absorb a star? No, I simply trained. I don't have as a low potential as you. All I needed to do was train for months on end, intensely, like I've never had before. You taught me the value of hard work, so I'll work hard to take over my universe, he said, as he began to laugh maniacally. But I said, well done. But as I turned gold, I said, my form's still stronger than yours, and I punched Frost, but then Frost punched me, as we both began the battle further and further. But suddenly I tapped into my ruby form as I hit Frost, as he almost flew off the edge. Right as he about to fall off the edge, though, something happened. The entire ring began to shake. As suddenly, Zeno would yell out in excitement, yes, yes, it's happening, yes! Suddenly, the big Getty star would land on the ring, as Cooler would walk off with Mecha Zero. Zeno, everyone would look confused, as the Grand Priest would explain, everyone, time out, you need an explanation. You see, the Grand Priest would then explain that Zeno heard about this other timeline through time travel, and he was disgusted by it. So disgusted by it, he was going to wipe it out completely. However, when he visited it, he found a man that he really liked. A weird metal man made out of some spaceship material. And Zeno got along with him quite well. So well, he decided to let him defend his entire timeline. However, if he loses, his timeline will be erased, along with Cooler. Now, his team has 9 players, 8 versions of him, and 1 Cooler. Knock them all off, and it loses, just like a normal team. You may continue. As we were told to continue, me and Frost continued the battle when I was beating up Frost, but suddenly, a tail would grab Frost and throw him off the edge. As it was Cooler, he walked up to me and said, hello, it's weird to see an alternate version of your dad. What? That's impossible. I had Frieza, not you. Cooler laughed and said, once he became a machine, android, whatever you want to call it, he collected DNA from across the universe. And he found DNA from Frieza. Even though he was a rotten corpse, there were still some, and from King Cold. He took out all the potential and got rid of all the bad genes and put it in a tube and made me. Then, since he knew the tournament power was going to happen in advance, he put me in a time chamber and began to train me for months on end. Months in the real world, but years. Years passed as I grew up training, I grew up fighting, I grew up with one purpose, to win this tournament and save my timeline. I know my father wasn't always the best, but he's changed now, even if he won't admit it, and I'm not here to cause pain or torture. I'm here to win, Cooler would say, as he went over and punched me in the face, and I punched him, and we began to battle, pushing each other further and further, until we both turned gold and the stadium shook. Meanwhile, we cut to Jiren, as Jiren suddenly gets punched by a Mecha Zero. As Jiren goes full power, Mecha Zero just goes into his platinum form and punches him and begins to beat him up, brutalizing him and laughing. Ah. You see, I used to enjoy causing pain, but now not so much. I just wanted to test it out one last time. Sorry about that. With my infinite stamina, you really didn't have a chance. He pulls out his arm and blasts Jiren off the edge. Topo sees this and begins to run away. But then Mecha Zero grabs him. He's about to swing him off the edge, but then he gives in and becomes Topo, the god of destruction. Suddenly, Beerus would get up and say, listen, all of you, all of these teams, we need to team up. It's the only way we can defeat them. They all nodded as all the teams came together to fight. As I was battling Cooler would show off his black form and punch me right off the edge. But suddenly, Piccolo's arm would stretch out and grab me and pull me back up. Pepperoni would turn into a giant android as he began to charge up a Ki Blast, and we all began to charge up a Ki Blast. So did Cooler with Mecha Zero. Both teams blasted each other. All of the teams united against Mecha Zero and Cooler, as they both went into an epic beam struggle, hitting it with all they got, hitting it with every single thing they had, pushing it further and further and further. As the beams collided, suddenly a massive explosion went across the ring, knocking out so many people. The only ones who were left were Cooler, Topo, Dispo, Vegeta, me, and Piccolo. As we all got up, barely able to move, we saw Cooler. He was hanging on by a thread. He was able to grab the ring with his tail and pull himself up. He looked up as Dispo ran as fast as he could. You will never catch me, but then he turned black, only for a second, and knocked him off the edge and turned back to normal. He had to turn it on and off. He knew he couldn't use up too much stamina. He'll have to use it savingly. I noticed this, and I said, he's almost out of stamina. Piccolo said, we are too. We're gonna have to take him on. Right. Me and Piccolo began to charge. As God of Destruction, Topo began to fire Akai after Akai, but Cooler dodged every single one of them. But he was simply making him use more and more energy, so he couldn't really fight back. As suddenly, me and Piccolo grabbed onto him. As Vegeta yelled out in anger and yelled out in pain, saying, I am not someone's lackey. I am tired of the Green Man being ahead of me. I am tired of a Frieza race being ahead of me. I will fight to save my universe. As suddenly, he went Blue Evolution and fired a massive Big Bang attack. As me and Piccolo held him back, holding Cooler so Vegeta could knock us both off. Cooler began to swing, but suddenly, Cooler grabbed us both and threw us at the Big Bang, jumping out of the way just in time for us to get knocked out. Then, he threw at Vegeta, turning black to knock him out. Our universe was erased, and it was him versus Topo. Topo, in his God of Destruction form, blasted a mighty Akai straight at him as it hit him, but he grabbed the Akai and he managed to shrink it down into nothing, then knocked him out. All the universes were erased, except for Cooler's timeline. The Grand Priest came down and said, what wish do you have? And Cooler wished to bring back all the other universes. Then suddenly we were brought back. As we were brought back, we were all celebrated. And Mecha Zero went up to me and said, I'm sorry for the way I acted. Raising a son through all those years in a time chamber made me realize how much of a fool I've been. It made me realize all I really wanted was a friend and someone to hang out with, and I finally got that. I would forgive him. As the tournament ended, we cut 10 years in the future. And I'm with Frieza, training him as Frieza turns gold, and I'm so proud of him. But then I turn black and say, one day, son, you'll reach this level. Vegeta learned Ultra Ego and eventually became a God of Destruction. Me and Frieza ruled the universe as father and son, but not as a militaristic way, as an economic way, and of a way of peace. Mecha Zero found peace himself with Frieza, and everyone lived happily ever after.